When you finish gessoing your project, you are going to leave it on your desk and you're going to begin to draw out your rough draft design. So I'm going to tip this down just so you can see it on the video to see what I'm going to do. But you're going to leave your standing normal on your desk, and then you're going to take this worksheet that you glued down into your sketchbook to begin to draw out your rough draft idea. So you may paint this project any way that you choose. You saw some examples in the PowerPoint of ways that you could paint the project. So I want you to draw it as a visual first so that you've got a plan to follow when we start to do the painting. So number 1 says, look at the sculpture and draw the contour lines of the form. Draw large and fill the space. So just pick which angle you want to look at to try and draw. And I'm just going to have you do one angle to start with. So maybe I'm going to draw this position. So remember, the contour lines are the outside edges of an object. So I'm looking at kind of the wavy, wiggly edges to my object, including my block. So I'm going to start by drawing my rectangle block. And then I see a curved line. So it's kind of swooping up and curving around. Then it's curving back this way towards my block. Erase this. And then it becomes a curvy line kind of this way with another curved edge here. Got another curvy right here. And then this comes back and connects. So this is kind of what the contour edge looks like based upon what I see as I'm drawing it from the front view. So now that I've got this reflecting a similar form in my drawing, now it says decide how you want to paint the project. You need to have a base color for the sculpture that demonstrates fading colors. Use colored pencils to draw the base color, practicing blending colors. So here's what I mean. The background to your sculpture, I want you to demonstrate how to blend colors or fade from one color to the other. You can decide what colors those are going to be. It could be that it's monochromatic, where you have one paint color and then you just add in white paint to make it fade from light to dark. So you can see how this one was done with a green paint and then white paint was added to it. And this is the base to my sculpture. This is not how the final sculpture is going to look, because I want you to then do detail painting on top of the dried background color. Number 3 says, then you will create abstract designs on the surface on top of the base coat. Use colored pencils or markers to draw the designs you want to paint on the project. Think about color theory, the principles of design like balance, having similar designs throughout to keep it equally spaced, creating unity, repeating similar colors or similar lines or similar shapes on all edges of the sculpture. Consider making patterns if you decide. Consider having a point of emphasis where your eye focuses on one thing more than another, and contrast, using a variety of colors like light colors or dark colors so that the colors stand out on the background. So here is this idea. This student chose to work with dots to create their design. So they painted their background pink to begin with. When the pink dried, they added the light blue dots, these kind of light green dots, the darker purple dots, and those colors contrast from the pink background. So you still see the pink background, but you also see the lighter dots on the surface. So we want to try to recreate something similar to how we want it painted in our drawing. So if I was going to do my background to make it look like it's fading, to meet that requirement, what I'm going to do is decide on what my background colors are going to be. If I want this one to fade from dark green to light green, I'm going to start out with my dark green pencil. And I want you to do the background in pencil so that the background is a lighter color than the designs we put on the surface. Okay, so I could press hard and make this bolder and brighter. Then I want it to fade into a lighter green, so I'm going to change my hand pressure. So So now I'm using soft pressure, and I could layer white over the top, see what that does. Okay, so now maybe I want it to go dark again. So now I'm going to go dark, and then maybe it fades to light over on this edge. Pressing harder to make it go dark. So this drawing is going to reflect or represent what you'll do with paint. So your background will be painted. If you want it to blend into different colors, for example, maybe I want it to start out blue, and then it's going to fade into the green. So I'm going to color a portion of this blue. Then I'm going to work on my green. Maybe I want it lighter green here and darker green over here. And lighter here, but darker here, changing my hand pressure. And then now I'm going to mix. Now I'm going to overlap my green into my blue. I'm going to put some blue into the green and start to make it fade and blend. Maybe I want the base of mine blue, and it fades up into green. So maybe I have blue at the top and blue at the bottom. Okay, so this is my base coat. Now I'm on the detail for my abstract design. So you are welcome to doodle and draw and experiment in all this white space. It does not just have to stay on the sculpture itself. Think about abstract and how you might create that concept. So this student worked with dots. So if I was going to do patterns with dots of paint, then I'm going to switch over to markers, because markers have a brighter color to it. It's going to show more contrast. So maybe I wanted some purple paint dots on top of this. So now I'm just going to use my marker, and I'm going to organize my dots to make a row. And then maybe these purple dots go this way, and the curve is going to start to change. Maybe I want some smaller purple dots that are going to be in rows. And if you want to do dots, I'm actually going to give you pretend this is made of wood, different sizes of wooden dowels where you can dip it in the paint and dot it on the surface, so you do get nice even circles. Okay, so maybe I then switch to lines. Maybe I'm going to draw a black line here that I would paint. And if I'm thinking about unity, I'm going to repeat that somewhere else. So maybe the black line reappears somewhere in this area. And I'm thinking about balance to make it visually interesting on all areas. So not all the designs are just in one area and everything else is empty. So maybe my black curve gets repeated down here. Maybe I introduce some design elements that might be inspired by something from nature. Maybe I switch to red, and I'm thinking about flower petals. So maybe I have this kind of design. So I've used red here. I'm going to use a little bit of red over here. So the idea is that you are figuring out all your ways you could paint your sculpture as a practice drawing to begin with. Ideally, you look at this rough draft and then you paint it similarly once this gesso has dried. But everybody is going to do a rough draft version to begin with. That's a 20-point assignment while we're waiting for our gesso to dry so that we have a plan in place to know how to paint next.